It's just spraying of the vegetation that's growing on the tracks. It'll be done by CPR. It's usually done very early in the morning, and it shouldn't take too long. It takes a little over an hour to have it done. But they have to watch with the weather. The weather has to be right. It can't be rainy or too windy, then they won't do the weight. So they give it within about a week, usually about the end of May, before the roots really start taking their place too deep. It's to stop the defoliation around the train tracks, the ties. When we were there, we were looking at it before we started this, that the vegetation was not done in Kahnawà for 8 years. We were probably the only place in Canada that refused it. But it got to a point, it was so bad that we were there, it split the ties right in half. I says, no, something has to be done. We can't wait for an accident out here. So a decision was made, and it was not an easy decision to make. Well, I'm not saying it prevents a derailment, but it could be a cause. And we don't want to wait for something to get to that and then analyze it and say, was it this or was it that? Or was it based on they didn't remove the vegetation? If something happened, we could be held liable if it was proven. But we don't want to wait for it to get to that point. And based on the information that we have, safety, we have to look at safety, what they turn in, their requirements, and also too we take the environment into consideration. And at the end of the day, we have to weigh all of it, and it's not easy. None of us really want it. But we also have to look at the side of safety. We don't want to see anything go wrong. If there is a derailment, then we are responsible for this, and we don't want that to happen.
We believe that we should reduce our exposure to chemicals as much as possible because of the dangers involved with chemicals. And we believe that, like call it weeds, long grass, can be taken out by other measures. It can use steam. You can use your labor-intensive things to do, and companies always want to use just chemicals. And years ago, we were aligned with a doctor from the West Island who really educated us on all the dangers of herbicides and pesticides, how strong the chemicals were. It was like after '87, the Kyoto Protocol, the Convention on Biodiversity. There were all different things that were being discussed at the time, and the big thing was DDT at the time, and people were trying to ban it because of its devastating effects on the environment, on the eagles. The eggs weren't hatching. The eagles were almost like becoming extinct. So we got educated through that means, plus our regular research. So we're not really encouraging that type of thing in Kahnawà. We're exposed to enough as it is. And this is like almost like voluntarily exposing ourselves. And there's children and adults that have respiratory ailments, and we just want to encourage the people, to don't use chemicals when they don't have to. Erring on a side of caution is, even if it hasn't been scientifically proven that your liver is going to be destroyed or your respiratory system is going to be impaired, we have a lot of data that says that it will, and there's a contrary side that says that it isn't. So there's always a big a big debate between the producers of these chemicals, the ones that want to use it, and the environmentalists and the health people.
Community Protection Unit has been dealing with Canadian Pacific Railway now for many years. We have had a very good relationship with them in terms of training, education, within all aspects of emergency management. This year, as last year, they are now continuing their Vegetation Management Program. What this program is for is to ensure that there's no weeds or an abundance of weeds that are going to have the tracks not deteriorate as much, but it could warp it. What we don't want is for that to happen. And their Vegetation Management Program is going to ensure and help that there are no weeds, thus not making those rails deteriorate or move or anything. So it's going to help with preventing any railway accidents that could occur. We would prefer that they would do this rather than nothing, and this is their best management aspect for them. Community protection standpoint is to ensure it's all about safety, community safety, and it's the best option for us, the residents and the community. That's why we're in support of them doing this.